Okay, here are your solutions to 5-3, the examples. 5-3 is angles of triangles. Start out by putting some of this in your notes. I would suspect that many of you know this already, but the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. This is important that we start using this new word, interior angle. What that refers to are the angles on the inside of the triangle, the interior of the triangle. For example, we could draw a line here and we could come up with this angle here, which we will talk about at a later time. So be careful about interior versus exterior angles in a triangle. We're going to add the word interior angle to this definition, where all three angles inside a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. I suspect that most of you, if not all of you, knew that already. So let's go through our definitions here. A triangle is formed when three line segments that intersect only at their endpoints. A point where the segments intersect is called a vertex. You should know that. These are the vertexes, and vertexes is not even a word, it's vertices, just so you know that. A single one is a vertex, more than one is vertices. The angle formed by the segments that lies inside the triangle is called an interior angle. Please put that in your notes. Now let's take a look at one of these. Find the value of x in the Antigua and Barbuda flag. So we know several things here. We are given this triangle here to take a look at. The reason we know we're looking at this triangle is because we have an unknown x and we have two knowns. We have 55, and of course this little box here tells us that this is 90. So we know that x plus 55, here's our 55, plus the 90, which is right here. Add those all up and we have to have 180. Well, 55 and 90 is 145, so x plus 145 equals 180. We can subtract 145 from both sides, get a zero pair right here, and we have x equals 180 minus 145 is 35, so we know that the value of this angle has to be 35 degrees. Please press pause and do letter A. Okay, let's take a look at problem number 2. The measures of the angles of triangle ABC, and that's the way you should read this, is triangle ABC, are in the ratio of 1, 4, 5. What are the measures of the angles? So in this case, we're not being given the actual measurement of any particular angle, being given the ratio. So we can let x represent the measure of angle A. Well, measure of angle A would be 1, and then the next angle would be 4, and the next angle would be 5 in that 1 to 4 to 5 ratio. So let x represent the measure of angle A. Well, then if that's the case, then 4x would represent the next angle, and 5x would represent the next, or in other words, angles B and C. So we have x plus 4x plus 5x. Notice where these numbers come from. We have 1x plus 4x plus 5x equals our grand total of 180 degrees. Well, 1x plus 4x is 5x plus 5 more x is 10x. So we have 10x equals 180 degrees, but now we need to divide both sides by 10, and we get x equals 18. So we would have measure of angle A would be 18, and then we would take 4 times 18 to get the measure of angle B, which is 72, and then 5 times 18 is the measure of angle C, which is 90. Now, one thing that we should do here is we have these three answers here. We have 18 degrees, 72 degrees, and 90 degrees. We should probably add those all up. 18 and 72, that's 10, and that makes 90, and 90 plus 90 is indeed our 180 degrees. We probably did things correctly. This is a good little check here when you're doing these types of problems. Please press pause and do letter B. Now, as promised earlier, we're going to talk about exterior angles of a triangle. So the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of its two remote interior angles. What that means is, look, we've got the measure of angle A, this angle here, the interior angle, and the measure of angle B, this here, equals the measure of this angle here. This is something kind of interesting about triangles. This exterior angle, that's this one right here, equals the measure of the two that are, when they say the remote interior angles, it's the two away from. Don't include this angle here. We're not concerned with that. So we've got A plus B equals this exterior angle. In addition to its three interior angles, a triangle can have an exterior angle formed by one side of the triangle and the extension of the adjacent side. So here's the extension of the adjacent side. Right here's the extension of the adjacent side. Each exterior angle of the triangle has two remote interior angles. That's these two angles here that are not adjacent to the exterior angle. Angle 4, that's right here, angle 4 is an exterior angle of the triangle. Its two remote interior angles are 2 and 3. Measure of angle 4 equals the measure of angle 2 and 3. I highly recommend that you put this, at least a diagram like this, in your notes and on your gold sheet. You will need it. You should use it every day when you do these types of problems so that you get good at using it. It tells us, suppose that the measure of angle 4 is 135 degrees. So the first thing we should do is go over here and mark this as 135 degrees. So we can see that this is an exterior angle here, and their two remote angles are here and here. Okay? So the angle 4 is an exterior angle. Find the measure of angle 2. Well, we know that this angle is 90, so we can say that we've got 135 degrees here equals this 90 plus angle 2. So we've got angle 2, we'll call that x, so we'll change this to x, and our 90 equals 135. We can subtract 90 from both sides, get a zero pair here, and we have x equals 45 degrees. Which is basically what they did here, but I showed a little bit more of the math. So the measure of angle 2 equals 45 degrees. So a quick check, if we put 45 in here, that's 45 plus 90, and yep, that does give us the 135 over here. Please press pause and do letter C.